Hi everyone, welcome to Boarded Tanks with StewiejP. I'm Stewie, and here's a couple of replays sent to me from everybody's favourite team efficiency player, or maybe not everybody's favourite team efficiency player, Skell. And Skell is running around in his WZ-131. He's driving the Chinese light tank, and in this first replay is on Winterberg, and it's one of those encounter battles where there's only one base. And have a look at that. He is just lit up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 enemy tanks that I counted. Even though he's a tier 7 tank in a tier 8 game, it's a tier 7 light tank, and he is looking to get spots, looking to get nice and aggressive early. As you have a look at the mini map, looks like most of the heavy tanks are going where heavy tanks go, down into the city. And I think Skell needs to be a little bit careful here. All those tanks that he's lit, which you can see on the mini-map, all the tanks that he's lit, and it's only him and the Pershing and this Object 416 right at the back of the map with that tank destroyer, which is of course a little Jackson, who will be feeling a little bit overwhelmed in the little tier 6 American tank destroyer. Now the score is still 0-all as Skell's trying to get spots down the 0 line, 9-0 line on Winterberg. Enemy tanks, the heavy tanks on Skell's side. Looks like they've only lit up the low and the Udis 03, the new Swedish tank destroyer, which looks a little bit funky. Type 64 on an absolute YOLO run, probably looking for those 3 artilleries and whoever might be camping at the back, but he gets sent back to the game by the Jackson. The Jackson will probably be feeling pretty happy being tier 6 in a tier 8 game, picking up a kill so early on. 1-all is the score. Of course that T150, probably with the heavies, got taken out as Skell's looking for a shot on the Leopard. He bounces a shot from a Leopard, but he doesn't land the one in return, and he'll be looking to keep that Tiger 1 lit up, try and get an enemy heavy tank out of the game. And he's not getting too aggressive because he's pretty much on his own. He's got the Pershing there. The Pershing's getting nice and aggressive as well, but the Pershing's down to below half health now. He's probably on about 40% health. And look at the enemy tanks. The big Oho really getting stuck into the eastern flank. There's that Leopard. Skell looking for a cheeky shot on the Leopard. Doesn't quite make it land. The Pershing gets taken out by the enemy artillery. And Skell looking for an opportunity to carry this game. His team's down. 1-3 gets a nice shot into the T5 Leopard tank. As the 416 takes the German light tank out of the game. Skell cops a shot from the Tiger 1, but the Tiger 1's down to 151 hit points. Goes for the kill shot, but the 416 gets rid of the German heavy with the score on 3-4. Now Skell looking for some opportunistic shots into the big Oho, probably the biggest tank in this game, the big chunky Japanese heavy tank. Looking for a shot on the Ferdinand. He doesn't want to get hit by these tanks. Unlucky not to get a shot into the Ike 90B, which is the T7 Swedish TD. 4-5 is the score. Skell's picked up 1115 damage. Not much spotting damage. He did light all those tanks early, but none of his teammates could take advantage of that spotting. 4-6 is the score. 1384 damage, and he just picked up another 234 spotting damage on the big Japanese heavy tank. Now he's just relocating and re-evaluating the situation by the looks of it. The heavy tanks look like they're doing okay in the middle of the map, but they're definitely not winning overwhelmingly as the T29 gets taken out of the game. FV207, the big British tank, takes out the Japanese heavy. Of course, whenever an arty piece sees any Japanese heavy, they think you'll beauty. That's a pretty big target. Skell again picking up 248 spotting damage on the Ike V90B, the tier 7 Swedish tank. He was holding back because he didn't want to get lit. Now he does get lit there, but he's got this rock he can hide behind, and he's hoping for the kill shot on the Swedish tank. Artillery takes a shot and tracks Skell, takes him down to 349 health. That's just over 30%. hit points, and he's all alone on this side of the map, but he needs to keep lighting these tanks up. If he doesn't light these tanks up, nobody's going to shoot him. The SU-100Y and the Jackson right at the back of the map, and look, I can understand why they're a tier 6 tank destroyer with no armour whatsoever, but that T-20 really needs to be taken out of the game. And that T-20 is platooning with the T-29, but the T-29 is in the city, and that T-44 handily takes the German premium tank, the low, out of the match. 7-8 is the score, but it's far from over from either type. Neither side is really that far ahead. A big Russian scumbus takes out the UD's 03, evening up the scoreline at 9 apiece. That Swedish tank destroyer was on a bit of a YOLO run to try and take out those artilleries as well as the tier 6 tank destroyers, but 9-10 is the score. But Skell's side is in a little bit of trouble here because look at the enemy tanks. They've still got that Ferdinand, which is going to be a tough nut to kill, and the T-29 could be a hard one to penetrate as well. But Skell now relocating into the town. He's obviously got one eye on the minimap, and those two tanks that were last seen over at E9, E0, the T-20 and the Ferdinand, either one of them could comfortably take Skell's WZ-131 out of the game with only 93 hit points. 9-10 is the score. There's 8.5 minutes left on the scoreboard. He's picked up nearly 2,000 hit points of damage and nearly 1,900 hit points of spotting damage. Looking for some spots on the Tier 7 American heavy tank, and you can see he's already used his first aid kit and toolbox, and he's running food in his light tank. I'm not sure if Skell's riding towards the Tier 8 light tank in this game, or if he's trying to save up some free XP for those new Tier 10 light tanks which might be coming into the game. I'm not sure, but now he's looking for a cheeky shot. The T-29 only on 75 hit points. He's hoping somebody shoots him. I don't think they're going to. I think Skell's going to have to do this all by himself. Not confident of penetrating that turret at that angle. If he turns his gun again, I reckon he might have a chance. So probably now. There he goes. Evens the score up 10 apiece. Now there's 3 artilleries on the enemy side, and we know the other 2 tanks are the Ferdinand and the T-20, which were last spotted up in this little eastern town. So Skell, doing what light tanks love to do, is found the artilleries, puts a shot into the Hummel, takes him down to 44 hit points. Final shot takes him out of the game. That FV shot, and unlucky for the FV not to kill Skell on that occasion. So he doesn't fix his tracks. Instead of fixing his tracks, puts a shot into the British artillery, and now he's looking for the kill shot. There it is. Brings the score up to 12-10. You can see the M12 and the SU-100Y. The SU-100Y clearly does not want to face the T-20 or the Ferdinand, so they've both jumped onto the cap. There's only a minute to go before the cap hits 0, and it's a win for Skell's team. But Skell's picked up 4 kills, 2,753 hit points of damage, 1888 assisted damage, and he thinks, I probably don't want to spot this, get this heavily armoured Ferdinand either. He gets lit by the T-20, puts a shot towards him, decides capping's probably not the best option at this stage because we don't know where that Ferdinand is. That Ferdinand could be out here waiting for an opportunistic shot on the Chinese light tank, and if he can keep these other tanks entertained or at least distracted for the next 30 seconds, he'll walk away with a win, and probably not a bad result either. Jackson has finally woken up, and looks like the Jackson's heading towards the cap as well. And Skell running back out to the field. The Ferdinand hasn't been seen for a while, but there's the Ferdinand. He is on full health, and Skell will be praying that SU-142 is looking towards the Ferdinand. I just heard a big boom. Might have been the SU-100Y. He's got himself lit and taken out by the T-20. Skell gets the revenge shot on the T-20, picking up kill number 5. And look, that Ferdinand, Skell wouldn't have thought he was aiming that way. So he gets out of his role, does put a damaging shot into the Tier 8 German tank destroyer, and it looks like the Ferdinand is going to chase Skell now. And so Skell's going to use the manoeuvrability, get those buildings between him and the tank destroyer, and maybe he's going to go after the Arty, maybe he's going to run and hide, try and get a few snipey shots in. Looks like the Jackson he's going back now, it looks like the Jackson, or maybe the Jackson's just going to sit on this corner and try and spot not only the RT, but also if the Ferdinand tries to come back for a reset. Which, if I was in the Ferdinand, that's exactly what I'd be doing. He knows that the WZ was last seen in the field, and the only other tanks towards the cap circle are the ones that are going to have a lot of trouble penetrating. A tier 6 American TD, and also an artillery. The artillery, looks like the artillery landed a shot on the 30. Looks like he might be trapped. Skell looking for the kill shot, but he just gets around the corner in time. 27 seconds left on the cap counter. I think that Jackson's going to really struggle to penetrate the Ferdinand frontally. Looks like the Ferdinand was aiming towards the Jackson, but with 17 seconds left on the cap counter, the Ferdinand's left with no choice. He needs to go back and try and reset. But can Skell pick himself up a top gun? He's got him spotted. Boom. There you go. 15-11 is the final score. Absolutely carried by our mate Skell in his WZ-131, the Chinese tier 7 light tank. Pretty manoeuvrable and a pretty fun tank to play indeed. As we have a very quick look at the post-game battle results, you can see he's picked himself up an Ace Tanker Mastery Badge, as well as Spotter for doing all that spotting damage, Bruiser, Duelist, Fire for Effect, the Scout Medal for detecting more tanks than anybody else, High Caliber for doing at least 20% of the total hit points of the enemy tanks. Considering he's in a tier 7 light in a tier 8 game, that's no mean feat at all. And of course the Top Gun for picking up 6 kills. And page 2 of the post-game battle results shows nearly 3,700 hit points of damage, 6 kills, 1,977 base experience. That's absolutely massive. And of course 2,500 spotting damage, pardon me. Lost a few credits because there was a bit of premium ammunition there, and of course the food that he would have been running, which looks like he's bought in advance because it didn't really come into it, but I think the premium ammunition, that's what cost him the credits, but well worth it picking up an Ace Tanker Mastery Badge in the Chinese light tank, the WZ-131. As we move on to the second game in this double shot of Team Efficiency Skell action featuring the Chinese tier 7 light tank, the WZ-131, WZ-131. This time is in a tier 8 game again, but this time looks like there's a couple of more tier 8 tanks on each side compared to the last one. Now this one's Sand River. It's just a standard battle, and you can see that the Skell's team have the advantage as far as heavy tanks go, but the enemy team have the advantage as far as mediums go. Skell gets himself into a nice aggressive spotting position, puts 2 shots into Desert Fox in his T25-2 from the Barbecue Clan. But of course, artillery. When artillery see these purple players, they get pretty excited and try and pick up a Skell. He's picked up 468 hit points of damage, 209 spotting, and that would have been on those tanks that were sort of heading up the G1. You can see the position Skell's got himself into in the middle of the map enables him to light up the tanks that are pushing down the one line, and also if he gets high enough up from this ridge, whatever tanks are in the northern central part of the map, pretty handy place to go in a light tank. But you do have to bear in mind the enemy's guns are generally a little bit bigger than yours. Now Skell gets lit probably from that AMX 1375, backs up towards the rock and to give himself a bit of a ramp to run away from, and of course there's a lot of enemy tanks in that central part. Now Skell not totally running away, but is trying to assist as best he can. That T150 has got himself caught miles out of position. The Tier 6 Russian heavy, that's pretty good at Tier 6, but this is a Tier 8 game, and he's got the Udis 03 looking at him, as well as I think the T54 Mod 1. So that T150, even though he's still got 620 health, I wouldn't expect him to do too much better in the position that he's at. Hopefully his platoon mate, the RD driver, is going to help him from a distance, but Skell backs up again because he knows he's been lit again. This position where he is now, generally pretty safe from artillery, unless the artillery's gone over to this position at G1, which is a bit bold this early in the game. 0-2 is the score on Sand River as Skell looks for a few more opportunistic shots. The T150 not doing too badly here. That T54 Mod 1's been taken down to 275 health. The Tier 8 Premium Russian medium tank. But they've lost 4 tanks. They've lost the top tier STA1, and I think the only thing that the only positive you can take out of this is that out of the 4 dead tanks, only one of them's a top tier. The T29, even though it's not top tier, that would have been a pretty handy tank to still have in the game. Artillery takes out the T54 Mod 1 greatly assisting the T50, but the T50 still out of position. He really needs to get out of there. Skell's on 708 hit points. He's done nearly 700 damage and a couple of hundred spotting. And again, he's staying in the middle of the map, still just trying to keep these enemy tanks lit for the camping tank destroyers and artillery. 2-4 is now the score as the IS-2 gets taken out of the game. 3-4 as the enemy T-150 on the other end of the map gets killed. Skell takes that T-54-100 rental tank down to a one-shot on 19 health, I think it is. Puts the last killing shot in, but takes a few shots from that 1375 autoloader in doing so. But the T-50 done the right thing and killed that T-25 too. But now with the score on 5-4, I think Skell can afford to take a breath. 6-4 now, and try to avoid whatever's left out here. It's the AMX 1375. Skell didn't get spotted there, but the Rudy now making a bit of a hero run towards that T-150, and you wouldn't think the T-150 would have much of a chance. All Skell can do is try and dissuade that 1375, which does get taken out by artillery from helping the Tier 6 Russian medium tank. 8-6 is the score now, 1469 damage, 794 spotted, but he's only on 129 health. But just like on the last game, in the last game he wasn't on much health either, but he still managed to carry. Plenty of decent tanks left on Skell's side, but a lot of them are 3 tank destroyers, 2 arties, 2 lights including Skell. Of course the other one's just a leopard. And the Tier 8 German heavy tank, the low, which just picks up the kill on the Emil 1, the other top tier heavy tank on the enemy side. Getting rid of all the enemy heavies, there's just 1 medium tank left, 2 tank destroyers and 3 arties, so only 1 tank left with any considerable amount of vision, apart from maybe the Udis 03, the Swedish TD. But if they can get rid of that T-34-85, which hasn't been spotted for some time, Skell doing the right thing here, getting vision along this area of the map and trying to chip away the little bit of damage so these guys can shoot, and they could, if they're lucky, they won't get spotted from back there, but who knows. What kind of health are they on? Yeah, they're all on pretty low health apart from the Udis, but so is Skell, but that's not going to stop him from impacting this game. Looks like Artie put a bit of a 226 damage into the SU-152, which Skell got the spotting damage for. Leopard gets taken out of the game, and the Ike 90B takes out the SU-152. The big derpy Tier 7 Russian tank destroyer. Hello M44. There's another 247 hit points of damage before the low steals the kill. Just 1 kill so far in this game from Team Efficiency Skell. 16 damage, and now he's lit up those arties, which is always a great pleasure. Lighting up a couple of arties. Lorraine gets rid of one of them, and of course, as anyone who platoons with arty players knows, arty players love taking out other arty players. 13-7 is the score. 1620 spotting, nearly 2,000 damage done for his 1 kill. And the Scorpion, look at the minimap, the Scorpion G getting nice and aggressive towards the enemy Udis. As Skell gets a nice sneaky little shot into the turret of a T-34-85. And now Skell's side has comfortably got the enemy cap taken under control. The Scorpion G copping it big time from that Udis, but of course that Udis doesn't have a turret, so Skell is going straight for him. Probably not confident that the Scorpion's going to survive this skirmish, but even though he's only on 125 hit points, if he can get behind the gun of the Swedish tank destroyer, he can just farm damage all day. And there it is, auto aims on the Swedish TD, and of course the Swedish TD is not going to be quick enough. Or is he? That is pretty manoeuvrable, but could have had a nice shot into Skell's side though. Skell gets another shot in, and the Lorraine picks up another kill. Not a bad game at all from the Lorraine. 4 kills as we comfortably win 15 to 8 in the end, so from a pretty close start, that wasn't a bad result at all from Team Efficiency Skell. Ace Tanker Mastery Badge, Spotter for doing all that spotting damage, Fire for effect, Confederate for hitting more enemy tanks than anybody else, High Caliber, and of course Patrol Duty. Spotted all these tanks. On the right hand side of the screen, as we look at the second page, 2,969 hit points of damage, comfortably topping the damage score. Only the Uties came close. He had a pretty good game as well. 1423 base experience, 2,969 hit points of damage, 1863 spotting, 523 shots, 15 hit, 13 did damage. That was enough for an Ace Tanker Mastery Badge in the Chinese WZ-131. Again, firing a fair amount of premium ammunition. Probably maybe looking for some missions or something, I'm not quite sure. But some two pretty good games featuring the Tier 7 Chinese light tank, the WZ-131, and our mate from Team Efficiency, Skell. He absolutely loves these light tanks. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for the replays, Skell. Take care, and see you all next time.